Rise now as men of the Night's Watch.
I took the great castle of Winterfell with 20 men. You'll do as I command, or I'll find me a hand who will.
Alrighty. How's everybody doing tonight? Alright, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, our cup came up. Cool. Tonight we are doing part 2 of my Game of Thrones walkthrough on a Stern Game of Thrones Pro. Last week was part 1, and we talked about very basic level knowledge of the game, which was also important. Playfield validation, how to start modes, the spinner rules, the battering ram rules, stuff like that. So if you haven't watched it yet, please go back and watch, because it will help you understand some of the things we talk about and do tonight during the second part of the tutorial. So tonight we're going to be talking about house battles or modes, like basically the main modes of the game. How the rules work for each mode, how the scoring works in each mode. We'll get into some strategy on how to finish modes quickly or maximize score in them. And then we'll finish up with going into, if you pick Greyjoy house at the start of a game, how the modes change, and yeah, how that works with additional shots needing to be made and things of that nature. So hey, what's going on there, Ronald 12? Thanks for tuning in. So a couple things. Thanks for everybody that watched last week and the feedback I was given on YouTube, Pinside, all the other different things, even some text messages from friends. One of the suggestions was the sensitivity on my mic was not quite up to snuff, according to some people. So please let me know if it seems like I'm way too soft. And you have to crank up the volume on your TV or your phone in order to hear me. I did change the sensitivity of the mic. I didn't want to make it too sensitive, because it seems like it gets really sensitive if short, loud noises happen. So I didn't want that to be screwing up the stream at all. So just let me know if I still sound too soft, and I'll just kind of do a better job of maybe speaking a little bit louder. Maybe that'll help. So there was that, and then also someone had asked me on YouTube about, or had made a point rather, about the playfield validation. So one thing I did not mention about playfield validation was, if your score, you can see how my score right now is just static. It's not doing anything. It's just blinking. When the playfield is valid, your score will stop blinking and it will start to scroll. It'll have that like that wave effect to it. So I'll try and show you right here. So you can see right now the score is just blinking, but then I hit that switch up top, and it's no longer blinking. And see how it's just kind of pulsing, or like it does like a little sweep motion on it. That's when you'll know the playfield is valid as well. So I can't remember your name on YouTube, but whoever reminded me of that, thank you. So yeah. All right. So we will get going here with tonight's part. Again, we're going to be talking about, we're going to get into detail of all the house battles, modes, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, and go over all the good stuff with each house's mode. So we'll let this drain out here, and we'll get to it. We're going to start with the House Stark. That's a mode that a lot of people like to go to right away because it has pretty easy rules to understand. It's a very repeatable shot, and can have a big collect depending on your multipliers or whatever else you got going on. So we will. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select House Stark for my house to start, because what that does is it immediately lights the House Stark mode to be able to be played. I'm just doing that for the ease of being able to go right into the mode and kind of show you guys how it works. Let's see. So some things to know and consider when watching me play the Stark mode is the timer. There is a 40-second timer for this mode. Certain things will pause that timer. If the playfield's not valid, it won't be going. If the ball's in the pop bumpers, I believe it will not go. And then I think during some certain animations, like when you lock a ball or something like that, it'll freeze the timer until the ball's back into play and the playfield's valid. So yes, it has one of the longer mode timers. So it's a good one to bring into multi-ball because you have plenty of time to finish it. Another thing about this mode, it can be very valuable or very invaluable depending on what you want to do. If you're just trying to get to Hand of the King or the Iron Throne Wizard mode, you can complete it very quickly by making 3 quick shots and then a final 4th shot. Or you can press your luck and try and build up the value of the mode, which we'll get into here in a second. Okay, so first we'll plunge the ball here. So as you see, because I picked House Stark, I'll let it drain here just so I can get control of it. Okay, so we picked House Stark to be in the game, which automatically lights the House Stark mode at the center ramp. I don't need to qualify it. It's already qualified right away. So what I'm going to show you first is how quickly the mode can be completed and how, I guess, rather invaluable the mode can be should you just want to get through it to have one of the houses completed. So if you miss, just gather it back up. Take another shot at it. Okay. So this mode starts with the ramps. Each time you hit the ramps, a collect value will build. You get no credit, no points I should say, during the mode for hitting the ramps. All it's doing is building your end of mode collect value. So the only points you're going to get from Stark mode are when you complete the mode. Which, as you'll see, after I hit one more ramp shot, now the orbits are lit. So I have 2 choices. I can hit the ramp or hit the orbit to complete the mode, which, as you'll see, because I didn't hit too many ramp shots, that mode was only worth 13 million points. Now you say, okay, well, that mode's not worth very much. I kind of want to avoid that. But if you remember, if we include multipliers and things of that nature and build up more ramp shots, that mode can be worth a hell of a lot more points. So I've done some research and figured out that basically the minimum amount of points that you can be awarded for that mode is around 8 to 9 million points. Base value. That's unmultiplied. No multipliers are on anything. About 8 million points. Now, if you were to press your luck and complete that mode with its max base value, which is 75 million, or you would need to make, let's see, you would need to make 12 ramp shots to get to the max collect value, base value of 75 million. So if that wasn't multiplied, you hit an orbit, you get 75 million. So you're either going to get around 8, you can get anywhere from 8 to 75 million base value for collecting the final shot of that mode, which is the orbits. Now, if you got that final orbit shot multiplied, it can be anywhere from 150 to whatever 75 million times 25 is. Chat, figure that out. So yeah, you could potentially have, if you max it out with 5x playfield and a 5x combo multiplier, that's 75 million times 25. So
Choose your house.
on this try, we're going to concentrate on seeing how high we can get up the Stark mode and complete it via the orbits. And I'll show you some things when I'm doing that to kind of make sure that when we complete the mode, it's being multiplied as much as we can for that point in time.
Winter is coming.
Okay. So we'll start the mode. Okay, so 1.8 billion is the potential scoring opportunity you have for this mode if it's completely maxed out on the collect. Thanks for the calculation there, Ronald. So that's pretty beefy, but again, very hard to pull off. So let's see how many ramps we can get here. So as you see, as I'm hitting the ramps, it's increasing the mode collect value. So now my orbits are lit, but I want to press my luck and see how many ramps I can get. And remember, if you take too long, well, I accidentally completed the mode there. So we did a little bit better that time and got 28 million, 27 million from the mode. But again, you can see how if you kind of press your luck a little bit and keep building that shot up, it can pay off a little bit. Another thing I want to show you too is you don't necessarily need to get to that 75 million to get a big payoff and multiply it. You can get there without making as many ramps, but just getting some multipliers going before. So if you're not confident in hitting 12 ramps quickly, because again, you got a timer going of 40 seconds. You got a timer, you only have 40 seconds to get to as much points as you can and collect them, because you'll lose it all. You won't keep that progress if you have to restart the mode. You'll have to go back through and build up that value again. Yo, Ross man, what up? So this go around, what we're gonna do is, so far we've completed the mode and scored about 28 million points. So
Choose your house.
this time, I'm gonna see if I can get a playfield multiplier going first. If I get a playfield multiplier going first and then make some ramps and collect it, let's see if we can't get that mode value a little bit higher. Oh boy. Okay, so remember our battering ram rules. We want to concentrate on upping our Stark value, but also want to keep an eye on our multiplier value, and if we need to restart the timer, we need to do that. Oh no. The multipliers are back up. So now we can go back to hitting our ramps. That's good that a lock's lit, because that's going to service a ball into the shooter lane. And if you remember from last week, damn it. if we can lock a ball while we're in the middle of a mode, that's going to serve us a new ball of the shooter lane, invalidating the playfield if we can get it into play without hitting a major switch. So we can use that to kind of pause our mode timers, collect ourselves, and then start hitting ramps again. You know? So, and that's always something to remember. Always remember to short plunge. So we'll go back into it, see if we can't get a decent mode value out of it. Oh boy, that was real bad. So if you fail on completing the mode the first time you play it, I believe it only takes 2 ramps to light the orbits. I almost let the auto fire beat me. Oh, and I plunged it too far. So the playfield is valid right now. Get up there. Actually, I only had to make 1 shot to light the orbits. Alright, so what I'm going to try to do is complete the mode now with a 2x multiplier. Whoops. Oh boy. There we go. So that was a 6x multiplied shot. So even though we probably didn't have the mode collect value built up as much as we did before, I only made a few ramps. Because we had 2x and because our shot multiplier was 3x, that got us a 6x mode collect, which we got around, you know, it was 90 to 100 million that time. So you can see kind of the so you can kind of see like the disparity between, if you want to complete the mode quickly, you can, you know, 4 shots, sometimes 2 if it's your second time in the mode, or you can max out that Stark mode for pretty big value. So we're gonna while I'm draining out this game, if anybody has any questions over the Stark mode, feel free to fire away. But it's pretty it's not self-explanatory, but a pretty easy mode to kind of wrap your head around on how to maximize your value out of it, or get through it quickly if you wanted to. So next mode we're going to do is Baratheon, so we'll pick that house for the next game. Alright.
Winter is coming.
Baratheon, here we come.
House Martell. House Baratheon.
Okay, so again, there's no rhyme or reason to me picking Baratheon as the house at the beginning, only because it just lights that mode for me right away, so we don't have to putz around with me like failing to qualify modes all night to get into these modes. So now, Baratheon mode. So kind of similar as before, there is a very short way to complete this mode. You can complete the mode in 3 shots. So if you're looking for a quick way to get to Hand of the King, or just quickly get through the mode if you're trying to get all the way to Iron Throne, you can complete this mode in 3 shots. So if it's like the last mode you have to complete, that's great, because it's pretty easy to get through. So if you, it seems to me, at least for my games, if I'm going for Iron Throne, Targaryen is always the one that's left, so it makes it difficult. But if somehow you get through that early and Baratheon's the only one left, just keep in the back of your mind, oh yeah, that'll be pretty easy, because I can complete that in 3 shots. As far as I know, Pale Albino, that Little Fingers Booby Brothel Wizard mode does not exist, but I will put an official request in with Dwight, and maybe when he revisits Game of Thrones, he'll add it in there for you. Okay, so, like I said, this mode can be completed in 3 shots, or, once I explain the rules, it has an infinite value. It's not like Stark, where the max value build-up is 75 million, then it stops. So after you hit 12 ramps on Stark mode, your best bet is to just try and set up a multiplied orbit as high as you can and collect it. You're not going to get any more build-up from the ramps, so it stops. But with Baratheon, it has similar rules to where each time you hit the spinner, you'll see a build-up score, just building up and building up and building up. There's no limit to that. You can hit that spinner as much as you want. You can build it up to 500 million. You can build it up to 1 billion if you wanted to. My spinner's juiced, so you'll be able to get a lot of spins out of it. You'll see the value goes up pretty quick on my game. But anyway, so that's the first step of the mode, is to hit the spinner. But anyway, we'll get into how the mode works once I start it. But the timer for Baratheon is 60 seconds. That's another key. This is a very long mode timer. I always like bringing this mode into multi-ball if I can. So it might be a little bit of a reason there to select Baratheon as your house when you start. We'll get into strategies for picking houses at a later part of the walkthrough, but just remember that it has a really long mode timer, so when you're in multi-ball, you got plenty of time to crank up that mode and get good points out of it. So yeah, that's about it. You can get a really tiny score on this mode. You can get a really huge score. Just whatever you want to do, just like Stark. So, alright. So we'll get into this mode, and I'll kind of talk you through how it works once we're in the mode here. Always take your time and get that ball into play, but don't touch anything. Alright. So again, the mode starts with the spinner. That's your build-up shot. That should be the only shot lit when we start the mode. So there we go. Just the spinner only is lit. So we just want to rip that spinner a few times. So you'll see the orbits are left open for this mode. So anytime you hit the spinner, it's gonna go all the way through the orbits. It will not feed the pop-uppers. Okay, now you'll notice after I hit the spinner, the dragon shot's lit. So that's the next shot we need to hit. Okay. Oh, it careened into the drop targets. But anyway, after you hit the dragon shot, it lights the drop targets to collect whatever value you've built the spinner up to. But it doesn't lock in that value. You can keep hitting the spinner and increase your collect value, which is only going to be collected at the drop targets. Once you hit the dragon shot, it will also light the center ramp. I don't know if you noticed that happening, but you can go back and watch on the video later. But we'll get back into the mode and play it again. But so you hit the spinner once. It just needs to register one time for the spinner. The dragon shot will light. What the dragon shot does is also light the center ramp. It also adds 750,000 points to whatever you've accumulated so far from the spinner. So that's adding to what you're going to collect at the drop targets. Lighting the center ramp, that really doesn't do much except add another shot that you can shoot to add 750k to the value you've built up from the spinner. So after you've hit the spinner, hit the dragon shot, and your drop targets are lit to complete the mode, you can just keep ripping the spinner and build up that value as much as you can before collecting it. I've played really risky before and built up my playfield multipliers before I collect it, because you'll see once we play this mode again, I'm going to try and hit that spinner as many times as I can to see how high we can get that collect value up. You'll see that, you know, like, your brain will start churning, seeing that, like, okay, now if we combine a 2x or a 3x playfield multiplier with that, that's a pretty huge collect, because you'll see that it can get up to upwards of 100 million base value pretty quickly when hitting that spinner. So we'll play the mode again and see how many times we can get that spinner ripping, because again, it's got a really long timer in this mode. The timer's 60 seconds. That's like an eternity in pinball. Oh, a little tickle. So that time, like we hit it a couple, like maybe just one good time, and it was already up to 40 million. So we'll try and get back into the mode here and get some more good rips on it. See how high we can get it.
Ball 1 locked.
So always and keep an eye on the DMD. You can see the mode timer's on there. The current value of our collect is on there. Our current score is on there. So a lot of good information is going on the DMD. So yeah, 2 good rips to the spinner, and we're already up to 73 million. So that's going to get us up over 100.
Lock is lit.
I'm going to hit my lock shot, so it'll pause, and I want to show you how the timer pauses. See how we're at 38 seconds? The timer will not go anywhere as long as I don't validate the playfield. I can sit here, take my time. The timer's not going to go down. So I can take a breath, take my time, line up the dragon shot. And also you'll notice that my combo multipliers are not timing out. My shot multipliers, the red arrows, they're not going anywhere either. I can take my time.
You're playing a bit rough. Lock is lit.
So there we go. So what we built up? So we built up 113 million on that mode. So if you notice the game's got a juice spinner and it's spinning nice for you,
You're pushing.
take some time and play around with that game before you kind of settle in to trying to score big on it, and see if picking Baratheon house is a good go for you. Or if you pick another house, just keep in mind that, hey, this thing's got a juice spinner. I should maybe be concentrating on, you know, building up the spinner value and concentrating on getting that going and getting huge points from that. Also use that to your advantage for Baratheon's mode. But yeah, so hopefully you're beginning to start to see, okay, there's more to this game than, you know, than meets the eye. There's different ways to attack it. Depending on how the game's playing, there's a lot of different avenues that can get you those huge scores. So let's see. There wasn't much else for Baratheon that I had to go over. So again, there's no limit to the value you can build up at the spinner. Even after you hit the dragon shot and light your drop targets to be able to complete the mode, you can still hit that spinner and keep that value going up and up and up. So if you are in a multi-ball, if it's safe to not hit those drop targets right away, you know, get some other things going. Playfield multiplier will be the only thing that affects hitting those drop targets. So there's no point in keeping your shot multipliers lit and going. So if you want to get that shot multiplied, you can only do it from the battering ram. So keep that in mind as well. So if you got multipliers running already and you've built up a pretty decent value for that Baratheon mode, hit your dragon shot, get those drop targets lit as quickly as you can and cash it in. Because like we saw, it was single value was 113 million that second go around. So you multiply that by 2 or 3 and you're in business there. It's a good mode collect. So all right. Everyone's favorite house is
Choose your house.
Lannister.
House Baratheon. House Lannister.
Okay. So Lannister mode. Go over the stats for this now. This is a mode with a 40-second timer. So another good mode for multiple reasons to bring into multi-ball. For one, the major rules of this mode are conducive to bringing it into multi-ball because the initial shots in the mode are very dangerous. They're all the gold stand-ups in between every shot. So normally those shots mean death when you hit them. So obviously you want to be hitting those during ball save of a multi-ball. When you hit those gold targets during Lannister mode, it will light the major shots on either side of that gold target red. So if you hit this gold target right by the right orbit, it will light the right ramp and the right orbit red. If you hit the spot target right next to the battering ram, that will light the center ramp and the right ramp red. If you hit the right gold target, gold stand-up, and then the one to the right of the battering ram, it will light the center ramp, the right ramp, and the right orbit. Because again, it's going to light the 2 shots that straddle it. But it will not stack 2 shots on the right ramp, meaning if you hit the stand-up on the right orbit, the stand-up next to the battering ram. Yeah, Lannister for sure, Chris. Thanks for watching, dude. It will not stack a shot there. So if you hit the right stand-up next to the right orbit, the stand-up to the right of the battering ram, it's only going to light the right ramp once red. So if you hit it, then you've collected it. So what I'm getting at is, when you hit 1 gold stand-up, go ahead and collect those red shots, because you could be losing out on some other red shots that you can hit. And it'll make more sense once we get into the mode. But the goal is to collect 5 red shots during the Lannister mode to complete it. Scoring. Through testing, the minimum score that you're going to get in this mode is around 30 million. So even if you're not multiplying any of those red shots that you're collecting, you're going to get around 30 million. So it's nothing to sneeze at in a close game. But that's just telling you that if you do multiply those shots, they're going to be worth a hell of a lot more, even if they're multiplied by 2 or 3x only. And you can do that just from the shot multipliers, the red flashing arrows. So trying to think how the value of each shot's determined. But essentially, each time you hit a gold stand-up target, it's increasing the value of the red shots that you collect. So that's the reason why you could go through and hit all the gold targets first. Then every shot on the playfield will be lit red. The left orbit, the dragon, the center ramp, the right ramp, and the right orbit. And those will be from what I've tested, that'll be the max value, base value of the mode. So if you hit all the gold targets and everything's lit up red, each one that you collect, assuming it's not multiplied, when you collect 5, it's going to be worth in the neighborhood of 50 million for the mode. So you really want to try and make sure that those red shots you collect have your red flashing combo arrows going on. Yo, Kev, what's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I can convince you to like this game a little bit more. All right. So we talked about in theory how the mode works. Let's actually see how it goes. So we're going to create a cardinal sin here and play this mode in single ball play, but I just want there to be nothing chaotic going on so you can see how the mode works. Now remember, pay attention to the DMD and note your mode timer and all that kind of jazz. It'll also tell you when I hit the gold targets how much value is being added to the red shield collect shots. So as you can see, all the gold targets are lit. That's what I want to aim for first. Okay, so I hit 2. You can see that I hit the gold stand-up on the right orbit and the gold stand-up to the right of the battering ram, which is why those 3 shots are lit red. Remember, it lights the shot on either side of that stand-up target red. So I got some multiplied red shots that I missed out on, but I've collected 1 so far. There's 2. And there's 3. So I need to collect 2 more, but I don't have any lit. So I have to hit another one of these gold stand-up targets, which are dangerous, but see, there you go. That's why you want to bring it into multi-ball, because you can concentrate during your ball save and while there's multiple balls out there to get all those red shots out there. Now, it's kind of good that I drained out of that, because then you'll see the other piece of this mode. Unlike Baratheon and Stark, your progress in Lannister does save. So the game is giving us credit for those 3 shots and saving that. So the next time we go into Lannister mode, we only need to collect 2 red shots. And if you remember, I drained after hitting a gold stand-up. So I already have 2 red shots lit. So when I go back in, I can just hit those 2 and finish the mode. Work my way towards Hand of the King, Iron Throne, all that jazz. Yeah, thanks for the host, Buff. Kevin. Hey, man, that's all I ask. Just be optimistic. So, snake shots on Metallica. I'm not familiar with that game, but yes, if you hit the snake and you're talking about it spots you snake inserts around the playfield, then yeah, that sounds similar. But yeah, each time you hit a stand-up, whatever shots are on either side of that are going to light red. So keep that in mind. But you can't stack them. So like if you hit a stand-up on either side of a shot, it's only going to light that shot red once. So if you hit it, that's going to go out. Okay, so let's get back in so we can see that it saved our progress. Oh boy.
Lock is lit.
Lazarus, always like that. Oh boy! That's why we short plunged. I had an extra long ball save because the playfield wasn't validated for most of that ball. Okay. Alright.
Ball one locked.
So, our 2 red shots are still lit from last time we played. Now remember, about playfield validation, I'm going to get the ball back. My mode timer isn't going anywhere. It's frozen. So I can take my time. I'm being impatient, but anyway. Backhand to left orbit is money on almost every Game of Thrones you'll play. Oh boy. So that was dangerous, but I wanted to get the easier shot out of the center ramp lit. So that's why I did that. Okay, and that's it. So let's see. So that wasn't a very valuable Lannister mode because most of the red shots that we collected weren't multiplied by anything. So that's what I was talking about before. That's about the fewest points you can get from that mode. So that's another reason why to bring it into multi-ball. You're gonna just naturally have those red shot multiplier arrows flashing with all the balls going in play, all that kind of jazz. So there's no question that if you have Lannister available while going into multi-ball, I don't know if there's an argument to ever not bring it. You know what I'm saying? That has to be one of your modes during multi-ball at all times. And you'll see as we go later, I'll actually make an argument not to bring in Greyjoy. But again, that's another good one to bring into multi-ball for various reasons too. But okay, so that's essentially Lannister. You want to concentrate on getting as many shots lit red as quickly as you can because they're dangerous shots to get them lit. And then you want to make sure and collect those red shields as multiplied shots because that mode can be worth hundreds of millions, just like any other mode. If you're getting in that groove of comboing shots and making shots that are multiplied more than 1x. So let's see, it's ball 2. Power cycle here. So feel free to shoot questions up. Yeah, if Lannister's a choice, always, always, always take that into multi-ball. There's no question about it. I don't think anybody will argue against taking Lannister into multi-ball. So sorry if I missed questions in the chat. Feel free to keep asking them, because if the chat gets lively enough, I'll tend to miss them. But yeah, just keep bugging me, and hopefully I'll get to them all. If not, I'll review the chat later and make sure that I cover them at the start of the next part to make sure that at least somewhere we're addressing everybody's concerns and getting this to be as comprehensive as possible. Okay, so we're through 3 modes. Next one is Greyjoy. Okay. Alrighty, so there's no way to immediately light Greyjoy off the bat because if you select Greyjoy, it automatically spots that mode for you. That's one of the benefits of picking Greyjoy. So what we're going to do is just pick any mode, and we'll hopefully we can get into Greyjoy mode without too much of a hassle. So again, we talked about this in part 1, but you just want to hit the Greyjoy shot in the left orbit 3 times to light that mode. Alright, so Greyjoy's lit. Get the ball on a trap here, and okay. So Greyjoy. The the way this mode works is, let's see, where did I put the timer? Okay, so I don't want to call them hurry-ups, but anyway, when you start this mode, it's going to light every major shot purple. The left orbit, the dragon. The center ramp, the right ramp, and the right orbit. You have only a certain amount of time to complete all 5 of those shots. The timer starts at 12 seconds. This is by far the shortest timer of any mode. And for how long 60 seconds is in pinball, 12 seconds might as well be 2 seconds. Because you'll find that if you miss a shot a few times and are having trouble getting control of the ball, that 12 seconds is over like that. So, there is an additional 1 to 2 seconds that you get each time you hit a purple shot in Greyjoy, but it's really, think of it more as like pausing the timer than like giving you more time, because it's really not that much. So, again, it lights all the shots purple, and you only have a very short period of time to kind of crush through those shots. Now, if you're gelling and you're comboing shots and getting those multiplied, this can be a pretty valuable mode. But again, if you miss a shot and you take too long fumbling around trying to get control again and hit another shot, that mode's going to be over in no time. So let's see just in single ball play how quickly that mode ends, assuming I don't complete it, but we'll see right here. But so assuming you don't multiply any of the shots together and make them all, you're going to get in the 30 to 50 million range. But if you're comboing all the shots and they're worth, 5, 10, 15x, you can get upwards of 5, 6, 7, 800 million points on this mode. So this is a mode that I will argue not to bring into multi-ball, but to play immediately after multi-ball. You'll most likely have playfield multipliers running. That way you can start the mode right out of multi-ball. You're in single ball play. The shots you have to hit for this mode are not that difficult outside of the dragon. So it's for me, it's more advantageous to play this mode single ball play, because you can concentrate on multiplying each one of those shots and really cash in on the value. It does not reset the timer to 12 seconds. You'll see, it doesn't. I tested it, I thought it did, and I thought it gave us more time than just 1 or 2 seconds, but it really doesn't. If try and pay attention to the DMD when I'm playing, but it does not reset to 12 seconds.
You're pushing your luck there.
Big points, big points. Oh boy. There we go. So again, Chris, I could be wrong, but I tested it the other night, and I'm almost positive when you hit a shot, it does not go back to 12 seconds. So we got all our shots lit. I like to hit center ramp first. We locked the ball, so we got to beat the auto plunge. So you see our 12-second timer, 5 shots left. Okay, ball's in play. Timer's not running. It's crucial to short plunge in this mode so your timer does not run. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try and go right ramp, right orbit, and go from there. So it's at 6 seconds right now. Let's see what it's at now. It did jump back up to 10, so it's a little bit more than I thought it was going to do. I couldn't get another look at the timer, but so maybe it jumps it up a little bit more than I thought it was gonna, and maybe it does jump up to 12, and maybe just not as much pauses the timer. But again, it can, if you're either going to drain during the mode, or if you're missing shots and in multi-ball during that chaotic first few seconds, or like when you're getting your bearings with all the balls going everywhere. I've had just so many multi-balls where that Greyjoy mode is done before I can hit 1 or 2 of the Greyjoy shots, and that mode is really lucrative if you can get after those shots quickly. So you saw in single ball play, I was able to, I think, hit all but 2 shots fairly quickly. So imagine that after multi-ball with your playfield multipliers running, it can score really big for you. At least it's better for me to do that instead of bringing it into multi-ball and risk that short timer biting me in the ass. Okay, so we'll go. So, like Lannister, Greyjoy will save your progress. So when I go back into this mode, I'll only have 2 shots left. And I believe it'll be center ramp dragon. So learning our playfield or our shot multiplier rules, I want to hit the center ramp so that my dragon shot is multiplied, or I can hit the. Oh, I only have dragon shot left. So that's the only shot I want to hit, obviously.
I'll keep it.
So my timer's paused because I beat the auto plunger. It's not validated, so I can take my time and hit that dragon shot for at least a 2x value. So I got 32 just from that shot. So it paid for me to know about playfield validation, knowing that I could take my time and hit that multiplied shot without freaking out about that timer running out. So essentially, if you can multiply those Greyjoy shots by at least 2x, another reason to wait to play Greyjoy is more than likely by the time you're through a multi-ball, you've probably completed 1 to maybe 2 more modes. So then the multipliers you've unlocked are going to be at least 4, probably 5x to that point. Now, even if you don't have playfield multipliers going, you're fairly easily being able to multiply those Greyjoy shield shots by 5x with just the shot multipliers, the red flashing arrows. So we got, what, 80 million, I think, from that mode, did we? Yeah, so we got around 85 million, 90 million from completing that mode. Now just imagine if it was, 4 or 5 times that, okay? Again, just another reason to... Yeah, least forgiving mode there is. So if you're like me and are a really bad multi-ball player and just dink and dunk all over the place, that Greyjoy mode is going to be gone in 2 seconds. So it's a mode that I really like to have when I got all kinds of playfield multipliers going and I'm out of a multi-ball that maybe it's just a way to cash in. And just as a general rule, when you're out of a multi-ball, look for things like your spinner or a mode that's ready to be played. Because there's other modes, and you'll see in a second, like Martell, that if you have a bunch of multipliers running, that's a pretty easy mode to cash in big time if you got multipliers going. Okay, so we got Martell lit, so we can go in and talk about that mode a little bit. Okay. Actually, no. Tyrell's next, so we're going to wait on that. Alright, so any more questions on Greyjoy before we move to Tyrell? So, RP Monk, it's terribly hard to learn each mode and not run to... Oh! Yeah, I know. It's like whenever... I compare it to... I used to skateboard a lot in high school. Whenever I would watch a skate video of guys just doing these awesome runs, I just immediately wanted to get out my skateboard and go do that. So that's funny you say that. I actually had somebody comment about one of my videos. I beat the Iron Throne on this, I think was the video he commented on. He said he was actually watching it at work and nudging his desk as he watched. And I thought that was pretty hilarious.
House Baratheon.
Okay.
House Lannister.
Tyrell.
House Tyrell.
Going strong.
So again, we're just picking Tyrell House at the start just so the mode's lit right away so we can get right into it. Okay. So Tyrell. This is my most favorite mode because of a myriad of reasons. But, number one, this is a mode that saves your progress. This is also a mode where even if you are completely terrible about concentrating on hitting multiplied shots, the absolute minimum you're going to get from this mode is around 80 million. 80 million! If you remember, the other modes we talked about, You can get as little as 2 million, 8 million. Lannister was around 30 for the minimum value. Greyjoy, again, around 30 to 50 for the minimum value. So this mode right here, if you are terrible at comboing shots together, the worst you can get from completing this mode is around 80 million points. So, yep, short plunge, Seth man, thanks for tuning in. It's huge. I would say that the most important part of this walkthrough that I'm doing is part number 1. If you watch any part, watch that one and that one only. It'll change your game greatly. A buddy of mine, he might be watching right now. I don't think he had ever scored more than a little over 1 billion points. And within 10 games of watching part 1, he was already up right around 2 billion points. So it's huge to know that stuff. Anyway, okay, so Tyrell. 78 million is the minimum amount of points you can get for this mode. That's fantastic. So obviously depends on the multipliers for the maximum value of the mode, just like anything else. But again, the key is the floor that you can score on Tyrell mode is much higher than any other mode. Let's see. Timer, 30 seconds. Middle of the road, but that's Dwight probably did that because the minimum value that you're going to get out of that mode is 80 million. So you're not going to get all day to milk the mode. So, and it'll take a total of 6 shots to complete this mode. Greyjoy is the only mode I can think of that's fast, or no. For the value of points that you're getting, it takes you 6 fairly safe shots to beat it. Also, it involves the lock targets. So if you're trying to work your way back to another multi-ball, it's a good mode to play. If you're just trying to work your way towards the first multi-ball that you play, it's a good mode to do on its own. It's a good mode to take into multi-ball. The timer's a little bit longer. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of good reasons to play this mode. So later in my other parts of this tutorial, when we talk about picking houses, strategies, all that kind of thing, it's one of the arguments I'll make to pick Tyrell if you're playing in competition or trying to score big at home even. But so yeah, so let's get in here and see how this mode looks. Okay, so 3 shots are lit. The dragon, the center ramp, the right ramp. All this mode wants you to do is go ramp, lock targets, ramp, lock targets, ramp, lock targets. Each time you hit a ramp, each time you hit a lit green shot out in the middle, it lights the lock targets. Then when you hit the lock targets, sit. Damn it, I hit the switch, so the timer's going to be running. So I nicked the lock targets. Now, you'll notice that I only have the center ramp and the right ramp lit. What it does is, each time you go from hitting the major shots to the lock targets, it takes away one of those shots the next time you go. The way it works is, dragon shot goes out first, center ramp goes out second. The final shot, only the right ramp can be lit. If you want to hit the right ramp every single time before the lock targets, that's fine. That one will always be lit. So as you notice, I didn't worry about shot multipliers, anything like that. Oh boy.
You're pushing your luck.
Nah. So like Lannister and Greyjoy and what else? It'll save your progress in the mode. So when we go back into this mode, it should have the lock targets lit. So I think that's where we left off last. So lock targets are lit. So now that we're on our 3rd major shot, only the right ramp's lit, and then collected the targets. Boom. So Tyrell's done. So that was a pretty sloppy completion of that mode. It took me 2 balls to do it. I want to say maybe one of the shots was multiplied by 2x, and we got 110 million. So that is a fantastic mode to play on its own, to get you started, to jump out ahead, you know, a little bit, put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, especially on a really difficult playing Game of Thrones where the ram is like a brick wall, which is really typical, or if the locks are set on hard. I like to do that for tournament play. Set the locks on hard, meaning you need to hit both the lock targets, excuse me, to light your locks. It's just a good mode to play on its own because that floor of value is so high that even if you complete it, but it's terrible, nothing's multiplied, you still get a pretty high score. So I would highly recommend considering, one, use Tyrell house as your house because it automatically lights that house. You don't have to hit those dangerous lock targets to get it lit, and get that early lead on your opponent. Or just at home, you know, I choose Tyrell a lot if I'm trying to get high scores. We'll go in later, like I said, for strategies for certain houses, what the powers are, that kind of thing. Tonight we're just concentrating on the modes. So that's essentially Tyrell mode. We'll let this drain out here. And we're going to go Martell. So any questions on Tyrell? Any confusion there that people had? Nothing too complex about the mode. The main thing to take away is it's one of the most valuable modes in terms of even if you do a crappy job of multiplying shots, you're still going to get good value out of it. Okay, so Martell's our last one before we go into the how the game changes if you pick Greyjoy house and playing the modes.
Greyjoy, House Tyrell,
All right.
House Martell.
Martell.
Lock is lit.
Oh boy. Okay. Some stats on Martell mode. So, Martell mode is in orbit mode. Well, essentially it starts with the orbits. The game wants you to hit 3 orbit shots. Not meaning you don't need to go all the way around. You can just hit one of the orbit switches, and that counts as 1 shot. Once you hit 3, it lights both ramps for a final collect. The way the mode scoring works is each time you hit the orbits, you're scoring a value. You're getting some sort of points. I'm not exactly sure how it's collected. It's not a hurry up or anything. It's not getting less and less as you collect it. I think it's just if it's multiplied, things like that, it'll be greater. So it takes that value the first time you hit the orbit and it adds it to the end of the mode collect at the ramps. But what it's also doing is it's awarding you those points as you get them. So when you hit the orbit the first time, you're going to get points. It's going to add it to the end. When you hit the orbit again, it's going to give you points and add it to the end. When you hit the orbit a third time, it's going to add points. It's going to give you points and add it to the end. Then it lights the ramp. So after you've hit the orbit 3 times. That is a hurry up. It is a combination of whatever values you got for those first 3 shots, and it starts counting down. If that counts down to 0 without you collecting it, the mode is over. It credits you for completing the mode, even though you didn't hit those ramps, but you just didn't get that last hurry-up value. So that mode can be huge with multiplied shots. Because if you're multiplying your orbit shots and building up that collect value, you're also getting those points along the way. So if you can get some big multiplied orbit shots combined with a multiplied collect shot at the end, which is the addition of all those orbit shots added together, holy balls, you've scored 1 billion points on a mode. And I've done that before. It's awesome. Try it. Another one, a fantastic mode to play just out of a multi-ball. When your playfield multipliers are going nuts, you're pissed that you were killing it and you're not getting your 100 million super jackpots anymore, Well, go right into Martell, and you can get 1 billion points off that mode if you got all the multipliers running. So yeah, these are just cool things that you can do to make the game like have lastability in your house. I've played this game for an entire night just seeing how high of a score I could get on one Martell mode. And it's just, I don't know, just for me, like, it's fun to try and get to build up those big risk-reward collects. So yeah, anyway, we'll get into the mode right here, and you'll be able to see how it works. The timer.
Ball 1. Locked.
So the mode has 2 separate timers. You'll see right now it has a normal timer in the bottom right. It says 30 seconds. Once I hit an orbit, it starts a separate timer. You only have a certain amount of time to continue to hit orbits and collect your 3 orbits. I believe the timer is... Shit, what is it? It's 10 seconds. So when you hit an orbit, a separate timer of 10 seconds starts. Woo! Sweep the targets and got Lord of Light. That was wild. Okay. Okay, I hit an orbit. I'll try and catch it just so I can show you the timer. So as you see, see it counting down 10, 9, 8, 7. So if I don't hit an orbit, now the timer's paused because Dwight doesn't want you to time out modes. If I don't hit another orbit for 6 seconds, I have to hit all 3 orbits again. So let's say I collect 2 orbits and that secondary timer times down to 0. Sorry about your luck, you got to build up that value again. And then if the overall mode timer runs out while you're trying to do all this and you haven't hit your 3 orbits yet, sorry about your luck, you got to start all over. Progress is not saved. So we're 1 orbit down. Let's try to hit another one. There's 2. And there's 3. So now my center ramp and my right ramp's lit. So anybody in the crowd want to know which shot I want to collect my value at, the center ramp or the right ramp? It's the center ramp, because that one is multiplied. But I biffed it, and I get no multipliers now. But if you want to be tricky, you can try and multiply those shots by hitting something else before you hit them. But I took too long, and the mode ended without me collecting that final hurry-up. But as you'll see, Martell is lit solid, and it gave me credit for beating that mode. Again, you don't have to hit that final ramp shot to get credit for completing the mode. This is key to remember when you are Greyjoy House, trying to earn that add-a-ball power. And as you see from the mode, I collected 30 million points. That was essentially just the points I collected for hitting those orbits. So if I would have hit that final ramp shot, that would have been another, if I hit it right away, it would have been another 30 million. So I would have gotten double my points. Again, include multipliers in there, it gets crazy. So let's... I'm going to get back into that mode again and see if we can't do a little risk reward and build that mode value up. And then after we do that, we'll get into the Greyjoy modes. Well, picking House Greyjoy and how those modes differ. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is part 2 of the Game of Thrones walkthrough.
Choose your house. House Martell.
Alright.
Unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
I'm going to try and get playfield going first. And then let's play this mode and see what happens. Yeah, now I get started. Birdo, what up? No. Alright, so we're going to try and complete this mode with 2x running the whole time. A little trickier, but can definitely be done with some practice. Remember, keep an eye on your 2x light. If it starts going out, you know you got to restart it. Restart the timer.
It's lit.
Ah. Now, I may have lost my progress here. Not sure, but we'll find out. So we want to hit the ram as quickly as possible. Our 2x came back with our grace period, just like we learned in part 1. Just keep the 2x rolling. Take your time. The timers aren't going anywhere. Playfield's not validated. Again, I like to pass it over. Hit the left orbit with a backhand. But I still missed. Being impatient, but that's okay. I probably lost my progress again. We'll see. I did. Let's let our 2x run out and keep it going. There we go. Missed an orbit again. I got another orbit there. Here's our third one. Oh, man. There it is. Now I want to get that lock shot because it's multiplied. With my 2x, it's going to be worth at least 4x. Boom. So let's see what that collect is. Remember, I want to get this collect plus what I earned the whole way. 112. I think I got at least 100. Yeah, 168 from that mode. So again, it was a little chaotic, but that was a pretty good collect. Now just imagine that with 5x playfield running or 4x playfield running. That's pretty serious right there. Yeah, man. When I originally thought to do this, I thought that if any game needed a multi-part, extremely in-depth, like hold your hand tutorial, it was this one. I feel like so many people don't grasp it right away, or just see the barren playfield and don't really dive into it or care to, just because it doesn't catch them right away. Luckily for me, it caught my attention right away, and I immediately got into it, so I really wanted to dig in and learn all that stuff. But it is a really good game if you're willing to kind of learn all those extra rules and basically find your own way to like it. There's so many different ways to play it, and it's a good game. So, but hopefully when we're all done with this, I think I counted today, it's going to take me 4 parts, and then the 5th one, what we're going to do is we're just going to go nuts and see how high we can score with all the stuff we've learned. So, yeah, pretty much 4 hour-and-a-half to 2 hour walkthroughs are going to hopefully get everyone on the same knowledge level as me. I have not ordered a color DMD yet, Chris. What set that back was I found a really nice playing vector for pretty dirt cheap, and I had to jump all over it. Back glass is perfect. The cabinet is in really nice shape. I'm in the process of tearing it down and getting a couple issues fixed. The sound doesn't work correctly, things like that. But it's a fully working playing project. So once I get the soundboard serviced and put back together, it's gonna be sweet. So that pretty much drained my that and Christmas drained my color DMD budget at the moment. So I was kind of hoping to get one to use for the tutorial, but it's not looking like I'll have it in time unless somebody close to me wants to bring theirs over just so people can see it as we get towards the last one. But no big deal. I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos out before then. So yeah, I've been looking for a vector for a while, just kind of casually. It's not a game I've played a lot, so I don't really know if I'll like the gameplay, but it's definitely a game you don't see too often that I thought would be pretty cool in a larger collection, which I'm kind of getting towards that now with me having over 10 games. So yeah, I can't wait to get it set up to play. Alright, so we've been through every mode. No, Targaryen's left. Okay.
Choose your house.
So Targaryen, you cannot choose the beginning, so there's no way to automatically light the mode. So again, we're just going to hopefully painlessly light the mode and get in there so we can look at it. Targaryen is the only mode that you essentially have to complete 3 times in order to get credit for that house's insignia there. So I wouldn't recommend completing Targaryen mode before you get to Hand of the King. That's why I said before, it's going to be usually the only house you have left before getting to the final wizard mode, Iron Throne. So there's 3 different levels to it. representing the 3 different dragons that Khaleesi, Mother of Dragons, the Unburned, whatever you want to call her. You basically have to defeat all 3 of her dragons. Each of them are increasing in difficulty. The modes have different rules. So, let's see.
House Baratheon. House Martell.
So let's see if we can't get this lit here. One thing to know about the Targaryen shot when trying to light the mode. Should you ever, if you have not lit the Targaryen mode yet, but your mystery is lit. I'm not sure if this is just my game or all Game of Thrones, but if mystery is lit, the game, I guess it might be a bug, I don't know. But if the mystery is lit and you hit the Targaryen shot right now, it will give you credit for 2 shots to the dragon. I think it might just tickle that opto a couple times, or there might be another switch back there. There might be 2 optos back there, I'm not sure. But anyway, you're going to get credit for 2 shots. So if you need 2 more shots to light Targaryen mode and mystery is lit, that's worth the risk. 1, it's not going to bounce back at you because it's going to hold it, and it's going to give you credit for 2 shots instead of 1. So that's something to remember. Oh boy. There's 2. Get a lock here. Pass on the mode, because if I go into a mode, I won't be able to qualify Targaryen like we talked about in part 1. I accidentally validated the playfield, so I can't lose it. Okay, 1 more shot. Oh boy. There we go. So Targaryen's lit, dead, but oh well. We'll start on our next ball. So, Targaryen, some things to note. It is a hurry-up mode, meaning every lit shot in the mode is a hurry-up. So the longer it takes you to hit the next shot in the mode, the less it's going to be worth. And then obviously your multipliers will run out if you're taking too long too. For level 1, the first part of the mode, the first dragon, which is Viserion, I believe, is the name of the dragon. The minimum, so if you let the hurry-ups time out to basically nothing, you're going to get 30 million for that ladder, 65 million for the second dragon, and then the third dragon is around 300 million for. So if you get through all 3 parts of the mode and don't even really hit anything, you're going to be 400 million deep. So I kind of talked. I didn't really talk through the first couple shots, but the first level of Targaryen, the center ramp and the right ramp are lit. You only need to hit 1. Then it moves to the orbits. You only need to hit 1 orbit. Then it moves to the dragon to complete round 1. As you noticed in the bottom left, my hurry-up value was rushing down. I took too long to hit the final dragon shot, so it timed me out of the mode. However, it keeps your progress. So when I go back in, the dragon shot's going to be lit, and that's how I'll complete it. Targaryen. Short plunge so we can get maximum. And that's a little bit of a strategy play there if you want to get real deep into it. If you'll remember, I took forever to hit that dragon shot the last time we were in the mode and it timed out. My hurry up was only at like 1.2 million when I did that anyway. So I let the mode time out, go right back into it, start it. Now that same shot is worth 12 million. I also short plunged off a lock, got to a trap. My mode timer and hurry up are not counting down. My dragon shot's multiplied. So just keep things like that in the back of your mind, because now that shot that if I hit it the last time we were in there was only worth 1.2 million, now it's going to be worth at least 24. But if I don't hit it quick, it's going to be worth, there we go. So what'd that give me? So
Lock is lit.
that was some good value there. Even though we didn't complete that first wave the first try. So a little bit of strategy there. If you're really close to somebody's score, need a quick 20 or so million. Don't think completing that mode is going to get you that much, because if that hurry up value is really low, you want to let the mode time out, go back into it, and get that hurry up value back. So we completed the first dragon. We've slain the first dragon. Now Dragon 2, I can't remember its name, but very similar rules to Dragon 1. It starts with the center and right ramp lit. This time you have to hit both of those before it will go to the orbits. Once it gets to the orbits, you got to hit both of those. Then it goes to the dragon shot done. Again, these are all hurry up shots. So the quicker you hit them, the better. Also, if you have a shaker, it's really cool integration with this mode. It shakes with the flapping of the wings. Okay, so we're in multi-ball. So just try and keep an eye on. I'm going to hit the ramps first because they're blue. So I hit the center ramp. Now I got to hit the right ramp. Okay. Now the orbits should be lit. Yep. Okay. Now I hit both orbits, so now the dragon's the only one left. Boom. So that's pretty good value.
The super jackpot.
So I'm trying to remember if when I completed that level of the mode, when it showed me the total points I scored, if that was for that portion of the mode or the mode overall. I think it's your progress to date. So I didn't actually get 140 million from that part. That's the amount of points I've scored and earned through 2 parts of the Targaryen mode. So we can't get back into it unless we drain out a multi-ball. So it pains me to do that, but we're talking about modes now, not multi-ball. So through 2 levels of Targaryen, we got 140 million. Again, this mode's very valuable, but again, it's hard to light it. It's hard to get through all 3 of them, because what you really want to get to when you're trying to get to the wizard modes is completing modes. You know, if you're going for high score and Targaryen just happens to light from you missing shots, or if the dragon's got a safe feed, which is rarely ever, but if it does, so be it. It's good to keep bringing those Targaryen modes into the game and into your multi-balls, because even if you do bad in the mode and it times out, when you start it back up, all those hurry-ups the values are back up top. So just keep that in mind. Don't worry about not completing the mode in one try, because all it's going to do is when you go back in, your modes or your hurry-up values are going to be at full value again. So level 3. So this is Drogon, I think is his name. This has a completely different rule set. It's lighting various shots blue again, but they are taking down Drogon's life meter. There's a life meter up top, like Star Trek and the Vengeance ship. So each time you hit a blue shot, it is taking down his life bar. Once his life bar is at 0, the dragon shot will light for the final shot to kill him. Any point during this mode, if you hit the dragon shot, it will spot you a shot. So even though the dragon shot's not lit, we still took a shot off the map. You can tell we had the right ramp lit. It's no longer lit. The dragon shot spotted for us. That's a little tidbit to know about this mode.
Lock is lit.
So we want to hit. So if you stink at the right orbit or can't get a good shot to it, just hit the dragon. Now it wants us to hit the dragon anyway. There's nothing else we can go for. I would say hit a lock first, just so you can get the playfield validation advantage back. And it'll also multiply the dragon shot a little bit more. Because remember, these are hurry-ups. You want those to be multiplied as much as possible. So center ramp's multiplied. Let's hit that. Dragon shot. The spot us one. So now dragon shot's lit. Gotta hit it. Oh! So anyway, you get the idea. We had his life bar about halfway down. Again, you can use the dragon shot to spot you shots, but the dragon shot is the only shot that you can hit to kill the dragon. So let's say you got his life bar down to nothing, and you hit like a lit right ramp or a lit right orbit. That's not going to kill him. The dragon shot is, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Or maybe just a lit shot is the only shot that can kill him. You can't just spot, if the dragon shot's not lit and he needs one more shot to be killed, you're not going to be able to hit the dragon to spot that final shot. You got to hit an actual lit shot. So yeah, that's Targaryen. Remember, it's hurry ups. So the quicker you're hitting the shots, the more points you're getting. Obviously, if they're multiplied, worth more. Use your locks to invalidate the playfield to freeze those timers and the hurry ups. If the mode's about to time out with the final shot left, let it time out. Restart it real quick and get more value out of that hurry up shot. Also letting that, anyway, it's kind of getting down the crazy road here, but so let's see. We went through every mode. Okay, so picking any house other than Greyjoy, that's exactly how those modes will work across every single house. Now we're going to talk about how the house modes differ when picking House Greyjoy. I'm going to go through them a little bit quicker because they don't really have, once you dive into it, the rules are not that much different.
Choose your house. House Martell. House Greyjoy.
So again, when you pick Greyjoy House at the beginning, you cannot play the Greyjoy mode. It spots it for you. We'll get into strategy later, but one of the reasons to pick this house is it's already credited you for a house completion, meaning you only need 3 more houses for Hand of the King. It lights you a sword right away, so you can up your multipliers from 3 to 4x immediately. That's another reason to pick this house. I know it makes the modes harder, but we'll get into how much harder they actually make the modes, because I think that the modes aren't that much harder if you kind of strategically plan out your game. Okay, so we're going to start with Stark mode. This mode is one of the few that's significantly harder if you pick Greyjoy House. Don't do that. Okay. One more shot to Stark will light it. Okay. Stark mode works the exact same way as we did before, except every major shot is lit purple except for the dragon. To complete this, the orbits will never light to finish this mode until you've collected every purple shot. If you see, every shot with the dragon is flashing purple. So I got the center ramp. And every time you hit a purple shot, it will advance your collect value. So even though you have to hit more shots, you're increasing your collect value at the same time. The timer is no different. So again, you will not be able to complete this mode if you don't collect the purple shots. What makes it difficult is that your progress will not save. So if you run out of time, you have to do it all over again. You have to collect every purple shot. So we got 9 seconds left to get 2 more purple shots, hit a couple ramps, and then hit the orbit. So that's pretty tough. So what I want to do is lock a ball here to freeze the timer. Oh. Nope, see, we're out of time. So you'll see here, I'm going to get back into that mode. So here we go. Stark mode again. It's like we never even played it. So that can be frustrating. This is a very hard mode to complete if you pick Greyjoy House. I would advise not trying to complete this mode unless you're going into multi-ball. Unless you're just dialed in on that machine and you want to get after it, so be it. Like I said, nothing will spot you those purple shots. You have to hit them all to complete the mode. So we'll try again. So, just in case we complete the mode, we want to kind of plan out this. Again, my mode timers are frozen because I short plunged. My multiplier arrows won't time out. So I think what I'm going to do is go right ramp, right orbit, try and catch on the left flipper, hit center ramp backhand, and then hit the left orbit.
Tyrell Lannister.
Okay, plans change. Center ramp,
Barrett woman.
left orbit,
Baratheon.
now right orbit.
Favors of men.
Now I can complete the mode, but I gotta get those orbits lit by hitting the ramps. Just like we do without being in Greyjoy House. Now I can complete it. And you can see that from me unlocking that multiplier right away, collecting it, and being at 4x when I collected that mode, all I did was hit the 4 shots that were purple to allow me to finish the mode, hit 1 ramp and then an orbit, so that's 6 shots. So it took me 6 shots to complete that mode, and I got 150 million. If you were to do that with a different house and just be looping the center ramp to max out your value to 75 million and then hit one of the orbits, those orbits would be worth 2x on your 75 million shot. So that's around the same value, 150 million. But with Greyjoy House, we completed that mode with 6 shots and got the same amount as if we completed that mode not using Greyjoy House. It would have taken us 13 shots to get that same score. So that's big. So that's an argument for me to choose Greyjoy. Is yes, you can't stack 2 houses at once, but you're getting so much more value if you understand how the mode works, planning out your shots, comboing them together, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll talk about Baratheon mode next, but that's the differences there. Can you tilt with it? I was wondering if you could tilt during the multi-ball start sequence. Okay, so we'll pick Greyjoy House again.
Choose your
I'm gonna go to Baratheon.
House Baratheon.
Similar to Stark. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I gotta pick Greyjoy. So similar to Stark. Does not save your progress. There are a few purple shots lit. It's gonna be the spinner, the dragon, the center ramp. You must hit those, or else your drop targets will never like to complete the mode. Another difficult mode to complete if you're House Greyjoy.
House Martell. House Greyjoy.
And we'll talk about other benefits of picking Greyjoy later when we talk about each house and strategies for each one. But because I completed Stark, I got Stark's power of making my Winter is Coming hurry-ups much more valuable. Anyway, so let's try and get Baratheon lit without dying.
Lock is lit.
It's a dangerous shot hitting those drops, but... Oh, baby! Got 2 balls fed into the shooter lane here. In tournament setting, you must drain 1. Make it look good. Okay. Dang it. Okay. 1 drop target set. I need to hit 2 more. Block a ball to get my playfield validation back. There's 2 sets.
Lock is lit.
Oh, you dummy. Alright, one more set. Oh boy. I gotta complete this because it's not gonna give me credit for hitting those drop targets. I gotta be in single ball play. Well, trying to backhand that top drop target. I can do that sometimes. Block a ball. Get that playfield validation back. Now I don't want to lock another one because that'll start multi-ball. I don't have Baratheon yet. Oh! Yep, I knew I was dead. Alright, we'll try that again. We'll try it one more time and then we might just have to...
Choose your house. House Tyrell. Lock is lit.
Get it. Yeah. Oh boy. Hit it. There's 2. Oh boy. Let's get playfield validation back. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, come on. Two more. Yay! Okay. Baratheon's lit. Okay. So again, notice the purple shots. Again, this isn't super easy to complete like before where we can just hit spin or dragon drops. I gotta complete the purple shots. 2 of those shots are the ones we're typically used to hitting, but again, you gotta hit all the purple shots in order to complete the mode. So I would suggest hitting the center ramp first, and then you can complete your mode the normal way. Because like I said, you're going to collect those purple shots anyway, so although not as hard as start to complete, it's still more difficult. Because you have to complete all those purple shots. And I biffed it.
Back off.
There we go.
The night is dark and full of terrors.
So that's it essentially. There's really one more required shot in Greyjoy for Baratheon. So it wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was. But again, a little bit harder. Lannister. Okay, Lannister. As far as I know on Lannister, this is one of the modes where the purple shots are not required. So see how all the shots are purple. Hit one if you want, but not required. So we have four red shots lit. Let's hit those. I'm going to try and leave some purple shots lit. Oh boy. Lock a ball to... Oh no! Ball 3 locked. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can prove my point here in that you don't have to hit the purple shots. You can just ignore them and do your normal thing for completing Lannister. So I'm going to try and not hit that left orbit because that one's still purple. So I timed out the mode, but anyway. So Lannister, basically the thing to take away from that is Lannister, if you're playing as House Greyjoy, don't worry about the purple shots. Just get your shields and get out of town. You just need to play it normally and you'll complete it. Cool, man. Thanks for tuning in, Karen 007. It's a great pin. I've had it for, what's it been? Almost 2 years now? It'll be 2 years in February, and it's great. It'll be really tough for this game to leave ever. Alright. So we talked about Lannister. Let's see if we can get in Tyrell. If you remember, the Tyrell rules are ramp lock targets. Or, sorry, major shot lock targets. Major shot lock targets. Major shot lock targets complete. What differs when playing as House Greyjoy and doing Tyrell is those 3 major shots that are lit at the beginning of the mode are also lit purple. You must hit all 3 of those,
Locked.
or else the mode will not let you complete it. So again, another mode that's more difficult because of picking House Greyjoy. Alright, I'm not sure how many more hits we need to light Tyrell. Let's see. 1 more.
Lock is lit.
Okay. Tyrell's lit. Well, we started Winter's Coming, so we can't start a mode. That's okay. We'll collect this and then. All right, Tyrell. So see, all 3 major shots are purple. I have to hit all those. I can't just hit right ramp 3 times like we talked about before. I gotta hit all 3. There's 1, and then you can collect them at any point. I don't have to hit the stand-ups right now. I can still work on my purple shots, which is normally what I do. Oh, double for your money. So I got all my purple shots done. I just have my right ramp left. I'm going to see what happens when we time out this mode. I believe it saves your progress, but don't hold me to that. We're going to confirm it right here. Is this multi-ball? Yes, so it saved our progress. Meaning we don't have to hit the purple shots again. That's good. It's not like Stark. We don't have to do it all over again. So again, more difficult to complete, but not quite as bad as Stark and Baratheon. So that's Tyrell. What we got left here? Martell. Okay, Martell's lit. Martell, easiest mode to complete, because the rules while playing as House Greyjoy are no different than if you pick any other house. There are purple shots that are lit. Ignore them. Doesn't matter. You can play this mode how you typically always would. Oh boy. So I have not hit a purple shot. I got my hurry up going. If that hurry up gets to 0, It does not matter. Hurry up's counting down, counting down. It'll stop eventually for me trapping up. So I gotta hit some more switches. I'm just trying not to hit those ramps to show you that you don't have to hit the final shot of this mode, just like when you're normally playing Martell, to get credit for completing it. So if you feel more comfortable just bashing that left orbit as playing as Greyjoy, just to ensure that you don't... There it goes. I was like, wait a minute, it didn't light solid. Okay. So see, I didn't hit any purple shots during that mode, and I still got credit for getting Martell done. So that's key to remember. Again, we just went through all the modes except for Targaryen. We're getting into those now. But at least in a competition setting, it's not rare, but you're not going to play Targaryen nearly as much as the other modes. We just went through all those other modes. Really, outside of Stark, and maybe to a certain extent Baratheon, the modes really aren't that much harder to complete. Yeah, it might be forcing you to like hit an extra shot here, extra shot there, but it's really not that bad because most of them save your progress, or the purple shots aren't needed to complete the mode. Alright, so we'll try and get Targaryen going now. So see that? I had only hit the Targaryen house once before, but since Mystery was lit, it gave me credit for 2 shots from hitting it back there and holding the ball. Again, not sure if that's a bug or just my machine or what, but we will talk about this later too. Whenever in Mystery, if it says Light Super Jackpot, always pick that.
Get the super jackpot.
We will cover that when we're doing the Blackwater multi-ball portion of our walkthrough, which will be next week. Okay, so we got our Targaryen mode lit. What is different about this house, from what I could gather, you'll see that at the start of the mode, the ramps aren't lit, the drop targets and the spot targets are lit. So the game is having you hit those first before you do anything else. But that's really it. Because watch, if I hit a ramp now, my orbits are lit. If I hit my orbits, the dragon will light. So yes, the mode is harder. I just want you to hit one extra shot before you can go about doing the mode how you normally would do it. So again, not really that much harder.
Equip yourself.
So although I've had lots and lots of games picking House Greyjoy as my house, and completely horribly, it's mainly due to no houses being lit for you right off the bat. You don't have the safety net of that easy Greyjoy shot. The Lannister shot's pretty easy. That's also your lock shot. So I would argue more for choosing Greyjoy or Tyrell in competition than Martell, but that's my specific case, and I'll get into that later, you know, in our last one where we talk about just ultimate strategies and how it works for me and how it might work for other people or not work for other people. Again, the whole point of this walkthrough is to get everyone on the same level of knowledge as me, meaning you know pretty much everything about this game. Then it's up to you to tailor your own strategy that works best for you. So, alright, Targaryen level 2. Get out of there. Get out of there. Alright, I got an extra ball so we can keep playing that.
Shoot again.
Oh boy. There we go. Alright, Targaryen. So Targaryen level 2. Again, it's going to make us hit the drop targets or the spot targets first. We're also in multi-ball, so try and pay attention during the chaos. But again, if we hit the drop targets or the spot targets, it's going to make us hit both ramps. Then it's going to make us hit both orbits. The bricks for drops. There we go. So there's one ramp. And I remember from completing all those other houses, we got all those powers going. So I have an animal ball right now. Again, we'll get into those strategies later, but just an added bonus from us playing all these modes on one game of Greyjoy. So now I hit both my ramps. Now I gotta hit orbits. That was cool. Little ping pong to... Oh! Oh, that was bad. So I didn't complete that mode, so I gotta go back into it. We gotta hit the right orbit and then the dragon. I don't know about you guys, but if I don't hit that right orbit on my first try, it totally gets into my head, and I like tend to just spend the rest of my ball draining trying to hit it. See? Okay, but again, Targaryen mode isn't any different. All it's requiring you to do is hit those drops and spot targets first, then complete the mode just like you normally would. That doesn't seem that much harder to me. I mean, yeah, it's making you hit a little bit of a dangerous shot, but again, knowing these modes inside and out at all times will help you, and just always thinking about that depending on the current game state, whether you just got out of a multi-ball with tons of multipliers, or you just started a game and you want you have to go first and you want to get off to a fast start. Things like that are huge on this game because, as you know with pinball, and you've played multiple copies of games, every copy of one singular game plays different. So knowing every single inch of a game like this can really work to your benefit, especially if you're a competition player. Because if you're like me and you don't know certain games that well, and you only know one way to score big on it, and for whatever reason that's not working out, or the shot's too tight, there's something leaning in on the shot and you can't make it anymore, one of the good things about this game is there's so many different ways to attack it that you can take a different route and still get that big score. Well, that's pretty much all I had for tonight, ladies and gents. Feel free to pop something into the chat if there was something confusing that people didn't quite get along the way there. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I'm your pal Chuck Wirt, streaming for Straight Down the Middle Pinball. We will be back next week for part 3. Part 3. We are getting into the multi-balls. There are the 3 main multi-balls. Winter Has Come multi-ball, Blackwater multi-ball, and Wall multi-ball. We're going to get into how to start those multi-balls, how those multi-balls score, how to maximize score in those, how I'm not really going to get into... I'll get into a little bit on how certain houses affect those multi-balls, but mainly we're going to talk about how to get into those multi-balls, what the rules are within the multi-balls, how to maximize score, things like that. You're going to have to bear with me next week because if you've watched my other streams, I always kill myself on I'm a terrible multi-ball player. So next week, you have to be a little more patient with me because when we get into these multi-balls, I tend to flame out very quickly. So we're going to have to play some of these multi-balls multiple times so I can hopefully show you everything that there is in those. So, yeah. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week. Peace.